If I had to compare Anthem to something, it would be that meme where the gold digger gives up just before hitting that jackpot. Anthem had all the right ingredients. Great flight mechanics, high-octane gunplay, a full-on mech suit power fantasy, and visuals that still hold up by today's standards. So what the hell happened here? It's Mateo Vert, your favorite backlog gamer, and today we're looking back at Anthem, a game with so much potential that will be permanently shut down in 2026, becoming completely unplayable. So let's talk about it. Anthem was officially revealed at E3 2017 during the Xbox press conference. What we saw was breathtaking. Lush alien jungles, sleek flying suits, and massive enemies that hinted at epic co-op battles. It immediately positioned itself as EA and BioWare's answer to Destiny, but with a stronger narrative and more vertical mobility. But this wasn't just any developer making a new shooter. This was BioWare, the same studio that gave us Mass Effect and Dragon Age, franchises I've recently gotten into and been loving. These were games defined by their storytelling, choice-driven gameplay, and immersive worlds. So when BioWare unveiled Anthem, expectations were sky high, no pun intended. People expected deep lore, meaningful decisions, and genre-defining storytelling wrapped up in a sleek action package. We weren't just promised a game, we were promised the next step for BioWare and live service titles alike. So, how did that turn out? When Anthem finally launched in February of 2019, there were opinions. On the surface, the game looked incredible. High-fidelity visuals, flashy combat, and that signature javelin flight that made every dive and hover feel powerful. But it didn't take long for the cracks to show. Reviewers and players alike noted the clunky UI, long loading screens, and lackluster mission variety. The story felt oddly disjointed for a BioWare title, and many found the characters to be forgettable. Now, I'm replaying the game from scratch, and while I'm having fun, some of those criticisms are still apparent. One of the most common pieces of early feedback was that Anthem had good bones. The core gameplay was fun, but it felt like a foundation without a house. The loot system was underwhelming, the endgame was bare bones, and the technical issues plagued nearly every platform. There were glimmers of promise, but many players walked away feeling like they had just played an extended beta, not a finished product. Unfortunately, that's a trend that gaming never grew out of. There's no single reason Anthem failed. It was death by 1,000 cuts. But if we zoom in, the issues with the core gameplay loop and the endgame content were among the most damaging. Let's start with the loop. At its best, Anthem made you feel like a badass flying mech warrior, raining down elemental combos, boosting through canyons, and hovering midair while unloading on enemies. But that power fantasy was kneecapped by the repetitive mission structure. Too many quests boil down to go here, kill these enemies, collect X things, and repeat. The objectives were uninspired and the pacing was dragged. The loot system didn't help either. For a game that wanted to compete with Destiny and The Division, Anthem's gear progression was very shallow. The stats were barely explained, item rolls lacked variety, and the draw system felt unrewarding. Grinding didn't feel satisfying, it felt like busy work. And then there was the endgame, or rather the lack of one. After the campaign, you're expected to replay strongholds and contracts over and over and over again. But there wasn't enough variety, and without meaningful loot or evolving challenges, players dropped off fast. Within weeks, the game felt empty. These core issues weren't just oversights, they were fundamental design flaws. Anthem had style, but it lacked substance. It's like dating someone who's all looks and no personality, you know? In 2020, BioWare made a surprising announcement. They were working on a complete overhaul of Anthem, nicknamed Anthem Next. It was meant to be a second chance, an ambitious effort to fix the foundation, rework the systems, and deliver on the original promises. But more importantly, it was supposed to be free to play. Fans were cautiously optimistic. After all, other games had pulled off comebacks before. No Man's Sky, Final Fantasy XIV, and even Destiny to some degree. Maybe Anthem could be one of those redemption arcs. But time went on and updates were few and far between. BioWare shared occasional blog posts and screenshots, but there was no playable build, no major milestones, just vague promises. Things were looking kind of bleak. Then, in February 2021, the dream died. EA officially pulled the plug on Anthem Next, citing resource constraints and a desire to focus on Dragon Age and Mass Effect instead. For many, it was the final nail in the coffin, not just because the game wouldn't be fixed, but because it confirmed what players feared all along. Anthem wasn't a priority anymore, and it never really had been. Despite all of its flaws, Anthem truly shines in certain areas, especially when you're in the middle of combat, soaring through the air and chaining elemental combos with your squad. The fight mechanics are still some of the best I've experienced in a game. That Iron Man fantasy, Anthem nailed it. Each javelin had its own identity and playstyle. The Ranger was your balanced all-around class, great for solo players who wanted flexibility. The Colossus was the tank, slow and heavy but capable of dishing out massive area of effect damage. Storm was the mage, hovering above the battlefield and raining down elemental chaos. And then there was the Interceptor, fast, agile, and perfect for players who like to dart in and out of combat with melee attacks. Experimenting with builds and loadouts made each suit feel fresh, especially when coordinating roles in co-op. The visuals have aged surprisingly well, and the sound design, whether it's the roar of your javelin's thrusters or the explosive impact of your abilities, adds weight to every encounter. It's immersive in a way that many live service games today still struggle with.
Inspecting sensors every month. Yeah, exactly the Freelancer model.
Woo!
Freelancers are back on their feet. We can enjoy all the gorgeous scenery Bastion has to offer. Flying around is even better.
Lately, I've been streaming Anthem, and to be honest, it's been fun. Not in a this is a perfect game kind of way, but in a we're having a good time despite everything kind of way. The community that dropped by brought nothing but positive vibes. People were sharing tips, we were laughing at bugs, and just enjoying the ride for what it was. Come by the stream sometime, we're doing good things over there. Logging back into Anthem hit me with a wave of nostalgia. The opening menu music, the look of Fort Tarsis, even just launching my Javelin, it all brought back memories. I spent a lot of time in this game back in 2019, especially with some of my battle buddies. We were grinding missions, experimenting with builds, and laughing through all the chaotic firefights. We all enjoyed this game, we just wish it had more to offer. Booting it up again on stream recently reminded me why I stuck with it. The feeling of flight, the weight of the combat, the sleekness of the suits. It still clicks, and seeing others show up to watch and chat about their experiences made it feel even more special. Can I say hi? I want to say hi to people. Hi. There's actually other people playing this? Oh my god, I'm hyped. Man, I didn't play this game for so long, but I listen to the soundtrack every month. The music is insane. There's a soundtrack for this? Is it on Spotify or something? But I'm not gonna lie, it stings that they're shutting it down completely. Anthem may not have hit its potential, but it doesn't deserve to be made completely unplayable. Just drop an update, let us play offline, something. I'm not a developer, so I don't know the logistics, but I know one thing, I still want to fly in my mech suit. Anthem is a game that deserved better, with a community that deserved better too. Underneath the broken systems and missed potential was truly something special, and it's a shame it never got the time or support it needed to become what it was meant to be. Maybe with more people trying it out in 2025, something could shift. Who knows? Let me inhale my copium and dream. And thanks for watching. If you want to support the channel, small gestures like liking the video and subscribing go a long way. Join the Discord and we can cope together. And check me out on Twitch. We're doing platinum runs and my chat bullies me regularly. Till next time, this is nWhether, your favorite backlog gamer, and you guys stay safe.